partnership arrangements in a state agency. Today I'm joined by Toby Phillips, who is the boss man of the Martin & Co franchise network and also the Xperience franchise network. In a previous video, Toby, we talked about how Gen Zs in a state agency, so those in their mid to late 20s, are, whether it's a job or whether it's a career, and you gave some great insight, if you don't mind me saying, in how bosses of managing those sort of people could move things better. And right at the end, you said partnership agreements. And I said, well, why don't we actually deep dive into that in a separate video? So what is a partnership agreement in a state agency? Talk to me.
Absolutely. So just to roll it back one, Chris, from the last video.
Yeah, because they might have not watched it. So
one of the biggest costs for an estate agent, whether they're an employer or an employer who looks after staff, is when people leave. So the biggest cost to any P&L is a leaver. The cost of a leaver is unmeasurable in many, many different guises.
Well, you've got the obvious gap.
Business disruption is number one.
Yes.
But number two is the fact that you then have, you've probably laid out a guarantee, which you've probably not had back. You've then put a lot of costs and time into that individual. And all these costs are unmeasurable. And
you've also got putting the stress on the rest of the team to take the slack.
And if one domino flicks, it will dislodge. It might not make them fall over, but it will dislodge the other people in that team.
Because looking at the stats, I reckon probably 30% of people leave an estate agent a year.
I think more.
You think more?
Yeah, I think more than 30%.
Wow.
Yeah, I think, again, it's not a geographical thing, but I do think I think it's more upwards. I think it's approaching 50%, Chris, without looking at the numbers, but I think it's more than 30.
I mean, that was just an anecdotal number, but if you're at the coalface. So where can these partnership agreements help reduce that number?
So if you look at your levers in any business, in the first 12 months or in the first 24 months is where I'm personally seeing, and this won't be the same for every business, where I'm personally seeing the biggest spiking levers at the moment across the industry. That tells me two things. Number one, we rushed the recruitment. So we rushed into having someone.
Bum on seats time.
Bum on seat. Worst case you could be in. It means you didn't have a succession plan in place. But secondly, what it means is that we rushed into employing that person. But at that interview, we clearly saw something in that person that said, you're going to be really good at this and I can make you more successful and you're going to add great value to my business. That thought process went through your mind. But yet 6 months later, I go in and say, oh, where's Joe or where's Sam? Yeah, do you know what, absolute nightmare. They turned up late, they didn't want to sort of pick up the phone, they didn't want to do anything else. But hang on a minute, 6 months ago, they were going to be the best thing, the silver bullet that this branch needed. So for me, is any interview process, number one, you interview a person with the intention that you are not selling them the position, which I see a lot of. So the cardinal rule number one is you don't sell the job.
You get them to buy it?
You get them to buy the job. Secondly is, if I employ anyone, they will come and do a trial period of time with me. That could be half a day. So if you're interested in coming to work for me, you're going to spend half a day in my office with the rest of the team, without me being there necessarily, but you're going to do half a day to, number one, see that you gel with the team. Number two, to see the team gels with you. And to make sure that at the end of that half a day, you're happy with the environment I've created for you to come and work in.
Would you be doing that before you offer the job?
Yes, I would.
But obviously it's a good sign.
Absolutely.
Okay. But then a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't like that. But then are they the right sort of people for you?
And that's where the strength in your recruitment and the strength in your succession comes to flow. If someone wants to come and work for me, I need to make sure that they will work. I don't want a revolving door as that last position in the office. I want to make sure that they fit in.
And are you taking the opinion of the team as well, of whether we employ them or not?
I am, yes. And if I've got my...
Which must be quite good actually for the team.
They feel vested. They will then go the extra mile to help and support that person. But also, I want to surround myself with people that will take my job. In that team, if the manager's saying, well, I think he might put some nose out of joint, why is that? If it's anything less than behaviour or attitude, but if it's, well, actually, I think he's going to sell more than everyone else, then that's great, isn't it? Because all my other negs need to be hungry and ambitious for someone to come in and take their jobs, Chris.
Do your franchisees, I'm assuming all of them don't take this advice, but do some of your franchisees take this advice?
Yes, they do, yeah.
And do you get are people a lot stickier?
A lot stickier. In some of our big brands where we have one owner owning 5 branches or 7 branches or 10 branches, that culture is very, very much into those brands. And again, from performance reviews to that whole expectation within those businesses, that's really changing, and we're seeing a lot stickier. Have we got it right at the new entrant level? I don't think we've quite got it right yet, because there's still that revolving door, and I still think we're rushing, but it's something we're working on.
So the partnership arrangement, we haven't even brought out the partnership agreement yet, have we?
No.
So the first stage is interview well and then say, right, we want you to do a half-a-day trial.
Very much so.
Which means the person's going to have to take half a day holiday. Well, if you don't want it, then I don't want you.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And do you get many people saying, I'm not coming in for half a day?
You will do. You'll say, well, actually, look, I can't really get that time off or whatever. And at that point, you say, well, look, that is a requirement. As desperate as you may be to employ that person, you'll then, your partnership agreement is already flipping over. That employee then is in control.
Have you mentioned the partnership agreement yet at the interview?
Yes, I have, yeah. And at every interview, the way you stage that initial conversation is, this is a two-way street. I'm the employer, you're the employee. However, it's a two-sided contract. I've got to uphold my side, you've got to uphold your side.
And you're almost saying in the partnership agreement, this is what you can expect from me. Would you also have in the partnership agreement succession planning in terms of if you do this, this and this?
Imperative.
And would you also be saying in that partnership agreement that your salary will go from X to Y if you hit certain?
Yes, I am.
And how far are you actually saying that?
I'm doing it every 12 months. So it's a renewed agreement every 12 months. And we set...
Also, it's not just one agreement that lasts forever.
No, it's literally, that's your starting partnership agreement. And then that agreement will evolve. So in year 2, let's look at our initial agreement. Did we honour that? Did you do it? And actually, if you didn't do it, was it something I haven't done?
So you look down your list of...
Absolutely. Did I let you down on anything, which meant you didn't achieve what you needed to achieve?
I mean, this must be good, because then all of a sudden, me as an employee know exactly where I stand.
You know exactly where you stand, and also you avoid that question
about the salary.
About, can you do something on my basic? Yes, I can. Let's look at the agreement. When am I doing something on that? What part of the agreement do you need to hit so that I can do that for you?
Does the agreement actually say, right, you're earning X and I expect you to do this? How do you say, and do you actually put in the agreement, but if you do this, you'll earn this?
That's it. So you give an OTE, so you document on everything I want you to do, what you can earn from doing all these different streams of business. What you're then saying is that's your OTE. However, if you achieve this over the 6 months or 12 months.
And this isn't just sales here, is it? Because
no, sales, lettings, you're building financial services, you're building conveyancing to it.
Yeah, but what about acting like a manager, like an assistant manager, even though you've not got that title? Some of those things can't be measured with numbers.
So what you'll do is you'll evolve that to say, it could be that part of my agreement in year 3 is I'm going to put you on a development program to become a manager. If your performance continues on the upward trajectory that it is, and I put you on that development plan, there's no reason why you can't be a branch manager. And
so whilst the agreement is refreshed every year, you can put longer term goals in there.
Absolutely. And it could be that we're running a program internally, or we are then going to pay for an external program that will build that skill set up. The development and coaching it almost runs alongside, Chris. If you're going to put that investment into somebody, you have to have the partnership agreement in place. Because what happens now is we put everybody on a training course.
Where can people get hold of, I mean, obviously you can't give them yours, but are these partnership agreements available on the internet to look at?
It's not. There will be some specimens on the internet, partnership agreements. They can be very wordy, Chris. They can be very contractual, and you want to get away from the HR part of it. These agreements is, right, let's write down what I'm doing for you and write down what you're going to do for me. And actually, if you exceed this, let's write down the rewards you receive. So it actually, although you can have a template, that template will change from member of staff to member of staff. And in accordance with where
Would you type them out or even handwrite them?
Either or. Either or. At my age, I prefer handwriting them, Chris, if I'm honest.
It has a certain personalisation.
Very much so. So the meeting then is confirmed, but also again, the most important part for this is if you hit that number at any time, the reward and the change of title or salary or car, whatever it may be, kicks in.
I mean, I've never come across these partnership agreements. Are they new or is it just...
No, it's been around a long time actually, and I've worked with some people. Every best idea is stolen, Chris, and this one definitely is borrowed and stolen. I worked with a fantastic guy who was my head of lettings at my last business. Fantastic, and he introduced this, and this is in the stage where it was very difficult to recruit lettings negotiators, lettings managers. And the guy who brought this to me, and we rolled it out across the business, and I've stuck with it for the last 15 years. It's absolutely brilliant concept.
And your franchisees love it as well, do they?
They do. Again, would everybody take this on board? Do they sometimes think it could be a bit corporate? Absolutely, yes. So there's watered down versions of how you screen someone first. Again, but the most important thing, whether you're running one branch or you're running 15 branches, if you don't have something in place to look after your people, there is no point employing somebody and paying them money if you haven't got the parameters of expectations agreed on both sides.
Toby, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chris.